So I'm Kris King, and how many of you have I not met before? Just see. Wow, that's so cool. Thank you. Well, good news, bad news. We'll see. Yeah. So, have any of you that have not been here before or met me before been wondering, why the heck am I going to this place? Come on, look at me honest. Why the heck am I going there? Well, we have a lot of fun at Wings because what we do here is support people in creating the lives they really want to be living. And sometimes we really aren't consciously aware of what our options are. You know, have you ever felt that way? Like, what are my options? I don't know. And very often it's based in past experience and how we've been acculturated, just thinking of role identity. I was born in 1943, and the world that I grew up in was where there was Ozzie and Harriet, and some of you are going, were they? That's great. Where role identity was really very clear. Dad went off to work, mom stayed home, took care of the family, all that kind of stuff. And so that's changed, and some people are still having a really hard time with it. It's like, where do I fit in that? So we really help people just look at their life in a really healthy way and discover, okay, this is what I thought was possible, and I want to have other things be possible now. And then all the different skills and tools in order to do that. So, but you're here for a great evening, and it's called Knowing How to Know What You Want. Yeah? Have any of you ever had trouble with that? Okay? And where has that confusion or lack of clarity led?
Nowhere.
Nowhere! On the good ship, what? Yeah, I mean, it's like very often when I don't know what I want, well, what am I going to do? And I'll settle for what's available instead of, you know, taking the extra, the extra energy to actually go toward what I really want. So tonight we're going to explore that. So I'm really glad you're here. I have never had a problem knowing what I want. Never. In my whole life. I always knew what I want. Now that doesn't mean I went and did it. So I truly believe that at the core, at the essence of every single person in this room, every single person on the planet, you know what you want. There's a very wise part of you that knows what you want. And then there's all the nonsense that we've put over that. Our fears of rejection, of looking foolish, of not measuring up, of, you know, being a failure. I mean, we have all this other stuff. And so instead of saying this is what I want, we just say, I don't know. Does that make sense? Because we don't want to face all the stuff that's between where we are and where we want to be. And that's the work that we do here at Wings. So I use quotes to bring in other wisdom into the room and kind of add dimension to our evenings and our seminars. And this one is the focal point of our evening. The less self-aware a person is, the more he or she is unfree. Now, I know that's not a real word, but Rollo May said it, so it's on the board. As a person gains more consciousness of the self, the range of choice and his or her freedom proportionately increases. More choices, more freedom. And freedom is cumulative. It's not like a shot in the arm and once you got freedom, you're free. That, you know, we open a door to freedom. Freedom is cumulative. One choice made with an element of freedom makes even greater freedom possible for the next choice. Each exercise of freedom enlarges the circle of oneself. Isn't that powerful? You know? And very often we don't even realize how we're unfree. So Jason, you sent me an email and the facilitators after PES, and can I refer to it a little bit?
Please do.
Okay. So after the personal effectiveness seminar, I woke up like at 3 o'clock in the morning and realized that he was living in a cubicle in front of a computer. And he just thought that's what he was supposed to do. You know, that's what was available, that's what he had been trained for, and therefore that's what I'm doing. And how did you feel when you realized that?
Liberated.
Because now you have new choices.
Yeah, awake.
You know, when I'm aware of the box I've created, I can get out of it. It's when I'm blind to the box that I'm going to stay in it. And think, well, that's life. That's just the way it is. But as soon as I see the things I've done to limit myself, now I'm aware and I can step into new choices that expand my life. This is so cool. I've got goosebumps. Yeah. So what is the impact of this quote on you?
Clarity.
Clarity?
Makes me feel more clear.
Oh, feel more clear.
Wake up.
Wake up? Time to wake up. How many of you hit the snooze button several times? It's like life keeps knocking. You know? And you keep, oh, not now. Don't look that now. Other impact for this quote.
Free.
Free. Isn't it amazing? We are free choosers in an unlimited field of choice, choosing moment to moment to moment. And yet we don't necessarily consciously know that. Those things are all true, but we often feel limited in what we can choose. Yeah? So anything else in response? Infinite possibilities. Yeah. And that can be so exciting and so terrifying at the same time. Yeah? You know that feeling. And Christopher Reeve, think about courage and tenacity. At first, dreams seem impossible, then improbable, and eventually inevitable. When we commit, when we get truly involved, and things open up ahead of us. But they won't open up if we stop after the first attempt. True answers always have the hallmark of simplicity. Does that mean it's easy? No way. How many of you know that? I mean, those moments of insight, God, this is so simple. Why haven't I seen that before? But actually implementing it, putting it into action can feel like, oh, it's so hard to do. And I love this one. And I'm trying to figure out when I became mature, not just old. Maturity is achieved when a person postpones immediate pleasures for long-term values. Cool one, huh? Yeah. How many of you bounce back and forth on that one? You know, when you'll commit and go for the long-term goal, and then 5 minutes later, that's chocolate cake. So this is kind of our frame of reference. So what's the impact of true answers always have the hallmark of simplicity?
You don't have to remember what you said.
Don't have to remember what you said? Yeah, especially if you told the truth. Yeah.
Not to make it so difficult.
Not to make it so difficult. How many of you take your life and make it so complex?
Yeah.
Overthinking, overanalyzing, taking one thing and then just having it be all mixed up and complex. So the simpler and clearer we can be, the easier it is to go where we want to go.